Today I'm going to be talking about just a couple of simple things that you can do if you're getting cravings just after you've stopped drinking alcohol, or a bit later on like I do sometimes. So stay tuned. I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com, and I just wanted to make a quick video of a couple of simple things that you can do, that you can introduce into your life if you are getting cravings, after a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of years like I sometimes do. So craving is really just an urge. It's something that comes up out of the blue sometimes. It's often triggered by things in your environment, people around you. Basic trigger mechanisms are at work here, and your craving is basically something either that pops up in your emotions as an emotional feeling, and as a physical feeling, or as something that you're thinking, just a thought that's coming into your head. So what I really want you to ask yourself is, are you really craving alcohol? Is it an urge for alcohol, or is it an urge for something different? If you think about a craving, sort of like did you ever get an itch somewhere where you just can't find where to scratch? You're getting this itchy feeling, but I often get it after I've walked on the bottom of my legs, and it's just like an internal itch somewhere, or I don't know what the hell it is, but that's what I think a craving is like. And often I think 60%, 70% of the time, you're talking about this urge being to do with the lifestyle that you're changing, to do with not so much the alcohol, but the whole that is left behind after you've stopped drinking, right? So, you go through your normal alcoholic routine, you come home from work and you take a drink whenever when you're sitting on your couch at home, you go to the pub, all those times when you do drink. Once you take alcohol out of that equation, then you've left a gap, right? And it's often that gap that you've got to fill. But sometimes it's a lot simpler than that, filling in the gap, doing things that are going to progress your life forward and move your life away from alcohol. It's going to take time, but a couple of the things that you can really do in the moment are to do with what your body is interpreting as a craving for alcohol, that is actually something quite different. And the first one of those is water, and this is something that I had in spades when I was drinking and when I stopped drinking, and still sometimes I get this every so often. Now, when I was drinking, as I said, I used to work in a fairly manual job, so I was using a chainsaw most of the time, and most of the time I'd be covered in a lot of protective gear, the helmet and safety pants and gloves, and living in Ireland, you're often wearing jackets and heavy jumpers and stuff to work, rain gear, that kind of thing. So when I was working, I'd often get thirsty, and by the end of the day, that thirst would sort of manifest itself in my brain and my thoughts as a need for alcohol. First thought that would pop into my mind often when I finish work would be, I'd love a pint now. I'd love to sink a cold clear pint of lager or Guinness or whatever it was at the time. And I've talked about this before, but halfway through the day I would subconsciously be backing off away from drinking water to enhance that first pint, to enhance the flavour or the taste or the satisfaction of that first pint. So by the time I was finished work in the evening, I'd be gagging for a pint. I'd be really, really thirsty, and I'd often go into the pub and order 2 pints on the go because they were Guinness, and because Guinness took a little bit of time to pour and to settle and to basically arrive in front of me on the counter, on the bar top. So I'd order a couple of pints, and that first one would just go down almost straight away because I'd be that thirsty. And it was only afterwards, when I sort of started thinking about this, once I stopped drinking, that I realised that it was actually thirst. It wasn't anything to do with the Guinness or the craving for alcohol, but it was actually just being dehydrated. And the Guinness was doing nothing to satisfy the dehydration. As you know, alcohol is a diuretic. So yeah, that was one of the times. Then there was basically just times where throughout my drinking life that I just basically mistook the feelings of thirst for cravings for alcohol, or just this was what I used to drink when I got thirsty. It was the thing that I used to drink was get a few cans of cold lager on a sunny day. So that's one of the things to look for. I still get it every so often now. I still get that thought of when I'm really thirsty, and it is that I sort of think about it and realise that my mouth is completely bone dry, the back of my throat is bone dry, and what my body is craving for is some water, is a drink. And my mind for that 1 second will interpret those feelings as wanting a beer, a cold beer. And it especially happens if I'm thirsty. I've come in from a walk. Often I go for a walk before we meet up in a restaurant or something like that, and I'll be thirsty going into the restaurant, and I'll sit down, and might be a couple of other people there that are drinking beer, and that automatic thing happens there. But so like I say, that's one thing to think about. Is your craving actually a thirst for water, right? And it's one of the big things that people face just after Christmas if they've given up alcohol in January. There's a lot of alcohol that's been consumed beforehand, which is dehydrating, and has dehydrated your body, and you've been probably drinking alcohol in place of water, so you're not really dehydrated. And how long has it been before you're actually dehydrated, or before you were actually hydrated? And think about all those snacks that you've been eating while you were drinking, especially over Christmas. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. So when people give up, they tend to sort of feel the symptoms of dehydration, which can be sometimes feeling nauseous or getting headaches, that kind of thing. So make sure that you're hydrating yourself enough, and especially in the evening, if you haven't sort of switched to something else, you haven't figured out what to replace the alcohol with at this time, then you probably need to drink a bit more water. So just make sure that you are hydrated, and that should cut some of the cravings. And just as another thing that was just reminding me, if you are switching out from alcohol to something else, try and stick to healthy drinks. Try and drink water is the main thing. If you can get a lot of water down you, that's going to do you a lot of good into the long run. It's going to do your body a lot of good. And if you can change one thing in your life that will make a big difference and a big impact, sort of almost immediately, it's to hydrate yourself more. Keep drinking water and get yourself hydrated. Make sure you drink, I don't know what it would be, I drink probably about 4 litres of water a day. I don't know what that is in American standards. Avoid sort of sugary drinks, or those non-sugary drinks, Coke, Fanta, all that kind of stuff. They're just crap. It's not going to do you any good. It's going to do you more harm than good, and it's really not going to satisfy any of your cravings, or it might satisfy them in the short run, but there's a lot better things for you to be taking, which I'll talk about now, right? And that's carbohydrates. Carb yourself up. This is very important. Like I say, the alcohol has got a lot of sugar in it. That sugar might have turned into other things, but there's a lot of buzz around your buzz sort of thing. There's a lot of, you're getting a sugar hit, and that sugar is addictive on its own. So, you might have a sugar addiction as well as an alcohol addiction. So, some of the cravings that you might be getting might be for sugar, and one of the best ways of getting good sugar into your diet is by eating complex carbohydrates. You might find that the sugar is causing you to have low blood sugar, which is going to give you a drop in energy. Once you get a drop in energy, then your willpower is going to suffer as well. So you need to keep those carbohydrate levels and the sugar levels up. But as I said, it's a lot better to do it with good complex carbohydrates like rice, beans, brown bread is good, but I wouldn't recommend too much of that. Wheat products and stuff. Try and get it from as many unprocessed sources as possible. Fruit is a great one. I mean, I love bananas too. They're a slow releasing carbohydrate that deliver sugar over a sustained period, instead of giving you that big sugar hit and then you get the corresponding drop afterwards. So bananas are just a brilliant source of long-term sustainable carbs. I've often talked about the dangers of the poison in alcohol, the toxins in alcohol, and how your body is treating those. But in a lot of drinks, like in Guinness and in beer and that kind of stuff, there is some small bits of goodness. There is sugar, there's plenty of carbohydrates, and it's those things that your body has got used to and that your body is going to crave when you stop drinking. You've just dropped this big source of what would you say, fuel that your body has been using, and now you've got to try and replace that. So if you don't replace it, you're going to find yourself lagging. You're going to find yourself having problems with your ability to sort of keep up with everything. Your energy levels are going to lag behind, and you're going to find this whole journey to be much more difficult. So try and get as much of that carbohydrates from naturally whole foods that you can. Fruit and vegetables, like I say, bananas are my favorite. Rice, beans, pasta, brown pasta, whole wheat pasta. Avoid the white crap as much as you can. If you can get really good, thick, dense bread that's made out of good grains, then go for that. And avoid processed crap, including chocolate. I mean, this is doing you no good. It might give you that spike of energy, but you're getting that corresponding dip, which is bad for you. So what should you do? First, keep yourself hydrated. You're probably going to be dehydrated after you've quit drinking, so you need to keep up those levels of water flooding through your system. I mean, we're made of whatever 70-75% water, so you have to keep replenishing that stock. Make sure you stay away from the crappy processed drinks like those fruit juices that just sit on the shelf for months on end. The sugary drinks that you get in the bottle that are all fizzy and they're just crap for you. They're no good for you at all. So try and avoid them. If you can get some decent homemade smoothies into you, that's a benefit because you're getting hydrated and you're getting the vitamins and minerals and all that kind of stuff from the fruits and vegetables that you're putting into it. Okay. Next, carb yourself up. You know, eat regularly, eat regular, good, whole foods, good carbs. You know, eat smart all the time. This is the time to start thinking about your body, your long-term future. You know, if you want to live a long life, and if you want to not only live a long life, more importantly, live a life that is full of vitality and health, and you know, one way you can do things right up until the end sort of thing, then you need to start being super cautious about what you put inside your body. I mean, this is what's been going on all along. You know, for me, the change was completely radical when I stopped putting alcohol inside my body. You know, and all the crap that entailed, not only the rubbish of the alcohol, but the rubbish that I was using at the same time. So, you know, think about every morsel of food, every drop of liquid that you put into your body, and it should be doing you good. You know, don't be putting crap in there, because crap in and crap out. You are what you eat and what you drink, and that's basically what it boils down to. So, and before I go, I wanted to tell you about something I came across the other day about processed foods, and it was this American chiropractor from Alaska. I think it was Anchorage. She owned a healthy sort of alternative chiropractic practice, and she bought a Happy Meal from McDonald's, and she kept the Happy Meal for 6 years, and she opened up this Happy Meal after 6 years, and it looked almost as if she'd bought it the day before. You know, there was nothing changed, there was no signs of fungus or degradation or anything. So, and she said that she shows this now to her patients, just to have them avoid this type of food, you know. And I know she's a chiropractor, but whenever I eat food like that, any crap food, I get I haven't ate them in a long time, by the way, but whenever I started eating fatty sort of foods, my joints in my knees swell up, and I can really feel it in my back, and there's just different parts of my body start to swell up, different parts that shouldn't be swelling up, you know. So I'll put a link to that down below in the post below, so you can take a look at what this Happy Meal looked like. Happy Meal, yeah, this is the thing that people give to their kids, you know. Anyway, that's it for this week. Or that's it for today. I should have another video up on Thursday, another one of the videos for the new course, the new stress course. If you have any comments at all, then leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about keeping yourself hydrated or carved up. And if you'd like to leave a like button, click the like button below if that's your thing, then please do. It helps the channel to get recognition and stuff like that. So anyway, until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery. Onwards and upwards.